Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about growing up in a small town, which I think many of my viewers can relate to. Um, and this week's video was inspired by a trip I took back home last week to my hometown, and just bringing up some old feelings. And I also took the time to do some photography around town and photograph some what I would call local landmarks. It kind of stood out to me from going home and what it was like growing up in that town, and I guess how that makes me feel now. So stay tuned to the end of the video to check out some of my latest work from my hometown. But I kind of wanted to talk about um, growing up in a small town because I feel like, there's this old saying that, people who move away from their hometown and then come back years later find that everything has changed. Um, and, I didn't believe this to be true, or I thought, this would never happen to me. Um, and I guess going on my own experience, I grew up in kind of not a really small town, but what most people would consider a small town America. And, um, I grew up in a very close knit family. Um, didn't really go out of my way to not necessarily meet new people, but I was very shy growing up and didn't really um, meet a lot of people outside of my own neighborhood or from school. And it wasn't until I moved away for college that I really came out of my shell and started to meet new people and have new experiences and meet people from different backgrounds. And so after I moved away from college, I actually didn't move that far away. I was only about 2 hour drive from home. And I would come back on the weekends to visit family and my best friend who still lives in town. And, as time progressed and the more time I spent living in the city and coming back home, it didn't feel the same. And anybody who has ever moved away and come back home knows exactly what I'm talking about. And for me, that really hit home this weekend because I've been kind of in a personal struggle about, coming into my own and, finding myself as a person, as it were. And a lot of that I contribute to the people that I've met here in the city and my friends, and who have really helped me to grow as a person and um, be a better person, as it were, and challenge my ideas and beliefs, and you know, made me realize that you know not everything is the way it seems, or not everything is the way it is in a small town. Like, I feel like people that grow up in a small town, have a certain way of doing things or beliefs. And, I've been very fortunate to be able to travel not only all over the United States, but to several other countries around the world as well. And, you know, what I found is that we're all different. No two people are like, no two people believe or see the world the same as someone else. But by that same token, I've realized that, we all have something in common. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And, you know, there's something we can learn from each other. But you know, and I felt like that's what happened when I moved away. I really grew as a person. I really came into my own and, um, came out of my shell and became comfortable in my own skin. You know, I got picked on a lot as a kid because of my so-called disabilities, and because I wasn't like everybody else. I didn't have the same interests or didn't follow the social norm, as it were. And moving away, it's like nobody really cares. You can really be who you are, and I think that's very important and something that I really didn't get back home. You know, one thing I am proud of about being from a small town is, having that sense of community, that sense of family. Um, family has always been extremely important to me. Um, but moving away to a larger town, I realized that family is not always blood. Family is the people that care about you, that support you, and that are there for you no matter what. I have friends here that are closer than any family I could ever hope for. And, that's something that really has stuck with me. And, you know, it's been kind of a personal journey for me. And it's one that I'm continuing to take. And I think that a lot of people who move away to a bigger city from a small town um, really come to understand as they grow and go away to college and start their career and start to build a family. And there's no right or wrong way to do something. There's nothing wrong with living in a small town. If things had changed, I probably would still be living back home. And you know, I don't know if I would have grown as much as a person. I don't know. But, I think that it's important to realize that what's real to someone is not real to someone else. And I'm not talking about reality. I mean, we all have different experiences in life and come from different cultural backgrounds, and that's not a bad thing. That's actually good. I feel like diversity is a great thing, and that we can learn a lot from each other rather than constantly tearing each other apart. You know, when I went back home this weekend, seeing my best friend and just walking around town and visiting some of the places that I spent my childhood, um, that were very familiar to me, and now it feels like visiting a foreign land for the first time. You don't know your way around. It seems familiar because you've seen it before, but you know that you don't belong there anymore. It's not where you're supposed to be. And, I was interacting with some friends and neighbors who I was extremely close to growing up and realized that, those weren't the people that I wanted to be around anymore. Those weren't people that mattered to me. And it's not that that's a bad thing. It's not that they're bad people or anything. They're actually really amazing people, and I still respect them very much. But I've come to realize that, we took separate paths in life. And my path took me somewhere else, and I realized that I don't belong in my hometown anymore. Where I live now, that is my hometown. Where my friends are, where my in-laws are. That's where my family is. That's where my home is now. And I feel like so many people can relate to that. They spent their whole life wondering what it's like to get away from home, or so many people want to get out of their hometown as quickly as they can. Like right after high school, they just want to go away to college. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that while my hometown is no longer my home anymore, I'm still thankful for the people that I grew up with, the family that I have back there. Even though we may not always agree on everything, I think it's a very important part of who I am. And, while that may not always be the guiding force in my life, um, it'll always be a place that I come back home to remind myself of where I came from and where I'm going. Um, and I feel like many of us out there can relate to that. So I would love to hear my thoughts and comments from my viewers. And, tell me your stories. Let me know what it was like for you growing up, whether you grew up in a small town or a big city or somewhere else around the world. Um, and, I want to hear what it was like for you. Did you move away and find that, you really wanted to spend your life back home and you moved back home and got married and had kids there? Or did you move away and realize that your hometown wasn't where you wanted to be anymore? Let me know in the comments below. And here is some shots from some photo shoots I did in my hometown of some very important local landmarks that I think really speak to me about what it was like growing up in a small southern town. And I look forward to seeing you guys on my next video. Bye.